What is going on, everybody? I just had a really great episode, number 78 with Gavin Sodders of Whitetail Bloodline. Man, it was a lot of fun. I just got to tell you, I got some business to take care of. I should have done this a long time ago, and I didn't make this promise, but I'm going to do it for somebody. This Saturday, the 18th, is the ARO podcast Meet and Greet. And also on Saturday, the 18th, at the Land O'Lakes Bowman in Fenton, Michigan, is a 3D archery shoot, and Barefoot Dave yelled at me because I didn't announce that previously, and so I'm announcing it now in the intro to this podcast. $15 for non-members, $7 for members. Again, Saturday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Land O'Lakes Bowman. Before you come to the ARO podcast Meet and Greet at Rail Yard Fenton, look at that, both in Fenton. You can go do an archery shoot with Barefoot Dave. I will not be there. I don't think my brother's going to be there. 3D archery shoots aren't for me. But I encourage you guys to go hang out and then come see us at Rail Yard Fenton. Anyway, episode 78 with Gavin Sodders is coming up next. We talked about who Gavin is, his evolution into hunting, hunting in different states, kind of bouncing around the Midwest and the East Coast and then back to the Midwest, and private land versus public land, and having a content creation and different personalities and how that works and or doesn't work, and then spider bites by the nutsack. So I hope you all enjoy this podcast with Gavin coming up next. See ya. What's up, man?
What's going on, brother?
Can you hear me all right?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Good. Yeah. Were you in Zoom and it just wasn't registering?
It was because it wasn't going through the app. It was trying to go through the browser instead of taking me to the app.
Oh, okay. I was like, man. Well, because initially I was like, I wonder if he's not actually Eastern. I wonder if he is Central Time. Yeah. Not that you wouldn't know. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm like right on the line where I live in Indiana, because an hour away, it's a different time zone.
It's crazy because as I'm driving, I'll know, it'll say that I've crossed the line, but my phone or my truck doesn't update. It doesn't update the same distance going west as it does going east. There's a weird delay.
Yeah, it is weird. I don't know how the line works. It's got to be all squiggly because, it's like one part of Illinois is not, but one part of Kentucky right below me that's even with me is a different time zone. So it makes
that's
sense.
Crazy. Well, thanks for doing this, man.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you cool with me recording video and everything?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Good. Okay. I always got to ask. Is there anything you don't want to talk about?
No, I haven't talked about anything, dude.
It's not going to get crazy. I just a couple podcasts ago, it was a friend of mine, but I was like, Happy Pride Month, and he just kind of let it go. He said something, but I was like, ooh, he's not going to bite on this. And then later on, he was like, I got a board of executives I got to answer to, so I wasn't going to get into that. I was like, yeah, man, I could tell.
Yeah, I'll talk about anything. I got super conservative bosses, and they're chill.
Yeah. Well, we won't get anything crazy like that, but you got any time constraints or anything?
No.
I imagine we'll go at least an hour, maybe a little bit more. So nothing crazy, but appreciate you sending me that picture. I already got it edited up for the artwork. This will come out this week on Thursday morning. So again, I appreciate you doing it. It's just random. You reached out and it's I've had this list of people, that I've either interacted with or I've been following along for a really long time. And, you kind of chip away at the list, and then it grows, and you add and you take away and you add and you go down the list. And anyway, it's then the algorithm, the Instagram algorithm, I don't know, for a while, I didn't see anything you were doing. And then all of a sudden you were back.
I hadn't been posting as much because I went real hard for a long time, then kind of took a break just because because I was a single guy for a long time. Now I got a girlfriend. She's got a kid. I live in an apartment now, so it's just different. That's why I'm in my room. All my deer mounts are in the living room, and she's gonna get home from work in an hour or so. But
it looks cozy in there.
Yeah, I mean, she keeps it nice. I got one buck sitting next to me that I still haven't hung up, and then I got my buck from this year sitting here on the ground because he's usually sitting right here. But
it's funny you bring that up. I've had this conversation with my wife. Well, first of all, let's back up. Gavin Sodders, is it Sodders?
Yep.
Gavin Sodders. Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
I appreciate it, man. I'm excited too. And said we've been talking for a long time, and
Yeah.
I looked. I didn't think I had your number, and then when I sent you that picture, noticed I did have your number. And we chatted
I
a little
know. But I didn't have your last name in there, so I added it. But yeah, man, that's great. Why don't you take some time and introduce yourself? Talk about Whitetail Bloodline. Talk about yourself, like who you are and what you do, and then we'll revisit what it's like living with a woman.
Yep. Well, I'm Gavin Sodders. I'm 32, just turned 32 in June. So pretty fresh birthday. Been hunting my whole life. I'm a second generation bow hunter. I'm like third or fourth generation deer hunter, but I was out west. I was actually born in Utah. I'm the baby of my family, baby of four. Only lived there for a year and then moved to South Dakota, moved to Indiana the first time. Spent some time in Virginia, that's where I started hunting the most by myself. Hunted a little bit in Indiana by myself, first couple sits here, and then went to Virginia. That's where I started. I've always had a passion for it, but I got more of a passion for it. Shot my first deer over there and shot a bunch of deer in Virginia. They're just loaded. It's like a $3 state. I think it still is. And I actually killed my biggest there. And then we moved back to Indiana, like roughly 13, 14 years ago. And my parents ended up buying a piece of property, 27 acres. And so I went to the managing side of that. Luckily, like my parents, they let me do my own thing. And it started off on like hay fields and then just transform into like a little whitetail property, like whitetail paradise. And yeah, it's been hunting my whole life. I killed my first deer at 11. Was hunting before that. Shot my first doe on opening day of archery season in Virginia, and then went and sat solo and shot my first buck. I was with a crossbow back then. Now archery hunt, just live for it. They've been in the works of selling that property. It takes some time. It's a big house and getting it all ready and everything with the acreage. It ain't gonna be cheap, so we're just getting ready to sell that. Might end up getting one more year. I thought last year was the last year, but it's one of those things that might sell right before season or might have it for season. But yeah, man, just had a big passion for whitetail. Started the Whitetail Bloodline in 2020. I've always had like a page. It used to be called Cup Creek Outdoors because of a hunting club I was into. And my YouTube goes back, I might get the years wrong, but 15 years roughly or something from the first one I posted. And I go on and off that. And then, yeah, man, just Whitetail Bloodline. It's went up and down. Had a lot of guys throughout the years, and it's switched. But got a few guys on there now, and just have a passion for whitetails, and that's basically what it's all about for me.
Yeah, you can tell that you have a tremendous passion for not just whitetails, but just being outside. Yeah, I think there's one thing where it's like, yeah, I'm obsessed with deer. Yeah, I love shooting big bucks. I love scouting. I love all that shit. But like when somebody's passionate about the whole process, it shines through and everything that they do. And you can see that with what you're doing.
Yeah, like I say, I grew up camping with my family. We did all that. Grew up hunting with my dad. My uncle always lived around us. I probably hunted with my uncle more just because my dad, he was like the head of a company, so he couldn't get off as much. But I mean, I hunted with him a bunch too. But my uncle just grew up hunting with him. And after I was like 11, I think it was 11 or 12, I started solo hunting using a climber. I was a teeny kid. Like freshman year of high school, I was 5'1", lugging those super heavy Summit climbers back in the day, like hitting the back of my legs. And yeah, I just love camping, man. Used to do a lot of hiking, fishing when I was younger, and more now, like as I'm getting older, don't have the time for it as much. But yeah, I just love the outdoors and everything in it, honestly, like you said.
Do you ever think about, because I think about this a lot, and this is something I'm going to beat this dead horse for I don't know how long until someone tells me to knock it off. I'm 45. You said you're 32. Okay, there's a 13-year difference between us for anybody that's not a mathematician.
Yeah.
Do you ever think about how you might be on the back end of the generations that truly and just enjoy being outside?
Yeah, I mean, I can already see it. Like I got my nephew. He's my little hunting buddy. He's getting into it hard this year. Like I've always set up the property for him when he was younger and got him a lot of deer on mom and dad's, but he bought like a whole saddle kit. He's ready to hit some public, and he's kind of got it, but it's just different. It's just the way we grew up. Like I'm a millennial. I was born in 94, and we're kind of the last generation because we remember before the internet. We got the internet when we were young, but we remember that. Remember being outside and just not always having a phone in your hand. Like I'm sure you're bad about it as I am, always looking at your phone and stuff now. But like we grew up where you didn't have that, where you just actually had to go out. Like mom would kick us out of the house when I was a little kid. Like get out, go do something. So we'd go walking or riding our bikes miles away, which I don't know if I'd want even like, if I don't have a kid. My girlfriend has a kid, but I don't know if I'd want them doing what I did, just the way the world is. But that's just how we grew up. Like we'd ride our bikes 2 miles away, go hit a pond fishing. I used to always just I wanted to be an animal photographer for a long time. I've had a camera in my hand since I was like 5 or 6. Had one of them big old VHS tape cameras back in the day, and then used to take like actual film camera photos for a long time. So I always had that passion. I was just always out there, just doing something with it. Always had a love for animals, which a lot of people are like, you're a hunter, you hate animals. And I think not all hunters. There's some bad eggs, but on average, your hunters care more about the animals and do more for animals than anybody.
Yeah, a lot of the anti-hunting community just they don't understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And looking at it from afar, I can see why.
Sure.
Because the videos they see are probably the bad videos. They're not seeing all the good stuff we do. It's like it's the same with politics and everything nowadays. You don't usually see the good. Who
inspired you to get into photography? Was it somebody in your family that was into that, or was this something that you kind of stumbled into yourself?
It was actually Marty Stauffer. I think that's how you pronounce his name. There's a movie called Wild America. Loved that movie. He was a big animal photographer, him and his brothers. It's a great movie. I just watched it and showed my girlfriend her kid not too long ago. But he was my inspiration. Called? It's called Wild America. It's a great movie. I don't know when it came out, early 2000s, late 90s. And it's just it's loosely based on their life. They went and started traveling, filming. They got like a camera, those 3 brothers, and went to film grizzlies in the movie and stuff. But he actually has like some documentaries, and his brothers do other stuff. But Marty Stauffer, I think it was called Wild America, his actual documentary series too. But the movie's called the same thing. And he's one of the most renowned from, I think, 70s and 80s. And that's kind of who I got mine. Like, that movie's what kind of pushed me towards it. But my dad always liked filming. My dad always had a camera filming, like, family videos. And luckily, he just let me take all his cameras and do whatever I wanted. So,
man, that's nice. Do you still have that stuff laying around that you can, like, look back on?
Yeah, we might have the VHS tapes, but at my parents' house, they got a bunch of old home videos, and I think we got me killing my first deer because my dad was filming me when I was 11, however many years ago that was. And yeah, my dad was always had the family videos, and yeah, like we got a bunch of them. If I went and haven't looked at them in years, but I'm sure they're at the house still.
I think the hard part now is finding a VHS player.
Yeah,
you can find the old tapes, but what do I play them in?
Yeah. I haven't watched any of those in years and years. Like, I'd assume they're laid around somewhere, but couldn't tell you where.
So when you were young and you were kind of bouncing around, you said you were born in Utah and you went to South Dakota and Indiana and Virginia and back to Indiana or something like that. Yep. You were pretty young.
Yeah. I was born in Utah, left South Dakota at 5, left Indiana like 11, and then came back when I was like 16 or 17 to Indiana. So it was
And during those like formative years, where do you think you spent the most time in the outdoors? Was it Indiana or was it Virginia?
Definitely Virginia. Virginia for sure. Because it was like I moved there halfway through my 4th grade year. And we lived in this apartment right in the middle of the city of Charlottesville. And luckily, where our apartment was, there was like one huge area that wasn't developed yet. So I could just go out the back door, and I'd go back there with BB guns and my camera. I was setting trail cameras up when trail cameras were still like film, and like they had the big flash. I remember setting that up like right behind people's houses, basically, or the condos. And like luckily, there were some giant bucks and stuff, and you couldn't hunt it, or you might have been able to, but I just went back there and filmed it. There was a pond, went fishing back there and everything, but that got definitely like the passion going. And then I ended up getting my license and being able to drive to our hunting club. And I wish I had my knowledge I did then, but it definitely taught me a lot because those properties were way better. Like now that I know whitetails better, that I'm older, like I wish I'd have known what I know like then that I do now.
You just made a really good point. It's not something I've really ever thought about until you just said this. I wonder, right now there's this giant topic of conversation that people talk about on hunter access. Like the reason that people are discouraged to go hunting is because it is so difficult to find a place to hunt. You might know somebody that's got land, but someone's already hunting it. You can't afford a lease. You don't want to go out of state. The state land is busy, even though everyone says that about Michigan. I haven't seen it. I know there are places that are, but anyway.
Yeah, same here. I don't have much pressure where I hunt.
When I think about back in the day, I didn't grow up in a hunting family. My dad bird hunted, but it never even crossed my mind. I didn't start deer hunting till I was 21. When I think back about all of the vacant land that was where I live and how relaxed everybody was, and there wasn't security cameras on every single house, and there wasn't all this everybody's up your ass.
Yeah.
I wonder if that would have been an amazing time to just hunt wherever you wanted.
Oh yeah, dude. I remember that when we lived here, we had a hunting lease. It was like a couple hundred acres. I think my dad paid like $100, $150. Yeah, and it just happens to be like close to where they live now. But that's how it was. You could go door knocking back then, and you could get permission everywhere. Like any farmer, like people hunted. Like Indiana's a big gun state. Like, and especially when I was younger, a lot of people didn't archery hunt. Like I didn't. I was young. I didn't archery hunt back then when we lived here. I started using a crossbow in Virginia, but it was just there was more hunters, it seemed like, and they were just more laid back too. Like everybody was proud of you. That was the one thing that was different too. Like not as many people hunted, but you'd see more deer too. I remember like opening weekend of gun, you couldn't drive anywhere in Indiana without seeing bucks or just deer laying in the back of trucks and stuff. And now, unless you go up to like a processor or something, you don't see that anymore around here. You just don't see them laying in the back of trucks. And then the access was night and day different. Just that's what social media, I think social media created. For one, like hunting public, started watching theirs, and that's what pushed me to start hunting public land. Never even thought about it before those guys.
Now, you made a comment that everyone was proud of you. What do you mean by that?
It's just like nowadays, it's big buck culture. Like unless you're shooting a 160-inch, people, not everybody. We got a good community, and people are proud of you. But back then, man, you shot a forked horn. Just you put down a buck, everybody was fired up for you. I grew up in a hunting club in Virginia, where if they ran dogs, like luckily we were the only ones that bow hunted and muzzleloader hunted. In Virginia, it was archery, muzzleloader, then gun. So we had those two first seasons by ourselves, me, my dad, my uncle, and my brother, to hunt all these properties, a few hundred acres to ourselves. And then gun season came, we ran dogs. And the first year was kind of weird, and I definitely wouldn't want it in Indiana now. But growing up with that and that camaraderie, because I don't really have that as much, I got my nephew and a few buddies. But growing up in that hunting club, we'd all meet up. You all sit there and BS for a long time, make a game plan, and then you go hunt. And then they'd get mad at you there because you had $3 too. But if you let the deer run by you, even if he was a foghorn, you didn't shoot him, they would rip you. They'd rip you a new one. And but it was just cool. You bring a buck, it didn't matter what size it was. And we put some slobs down. I got my biggest buck in Virginia doing that, and it was cool, man. You dragged the deer up, everybody's proud. At the end of the night, especially opening weekend, man, we'd have 15, 20 deer sometimes piled up, and we'd all sit there and butcher them up, BS, and they'd be drinking beers. They called me young blood back then, so I couldn't drink beer, but it was just cool, the camaraderie. And I think that's one thing's missing. A lot of guys are missing in their lives now is that camaraderie because guys don't really have it.
How do we get it back?
I think it's just doing little trips. Like that probably won't happen this year, but I'd like to get a bunch of guys on public land because where I live, we got tens of thousands of acres of Indiana public. It'd be cool to get guys from all around the country to go spend a week, all meet up, go camping, man, and just go hit the woods. Especially for a week trip, can't be too picky. Especially, I mean, you can come scout it and stuff and do your best to shoot a big buck. But I just think it'd be cool because I got a lot of buddies that there's some meat hunters come there, shoot a doe, and then I think things like that because, like you said, it's the access thing, man. It's just like people don't have huge properties, and I got buddies that have big kind of hunting clubs with people, and they still got that. But I haven't really had it since I've moved back here, and I'm trying to get that back.
And I don't know the answer to this, but I will tell you this. The one thing that this is not a huge deal. I'm just being a little pussy about it. The one thing that turns me off about Indiana's public land is you got to check in and park in a parking lot.
Not here.
Oh, really?
That's only like, I guess some of the state places. No.
Oh, okay.
Everywhere I hunt, it's not like that.
Interesting.
Like they got a bunch of like little pull-offs, and as far as I know, but yeah, I did a draw hunt where it was like that, where you had to check in, but that wasn't at an actual like a walking trail place where people went walking trails, and we got walking trail places, but we got like the Hoosier National, we got Clark State Forest, and a bunch of those.
Yeah.
And I don't know the rules. I don't know if you can pull right off the road, but there's a bunch of little pull-offs everywhere. I went and scouted over the weekend and finally put some cameras up for the first time this year, and yeah, man. As far as I know, it's not like that. We got so much acreage around here.
We won't hold you to it. I've heard guys talk about it. like getting there early to get in line and check in, and then not.
Oh yeah, that's like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Like Big Oaks. Big Oaks is like that. There's some of
Okay.
those, but I'm not going there.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
not far from me either. Like one of those places.
Interesting.
That's probably 45 minutes from me. And there's some big bucks in there, but I'm not dealing with that. I'm going to these like little. I try to go where people aren't going.
Hundred
Like I got
percent.
this like little honey hole where I've only ran into a guy one time, and I didn't hunt the past 2 years that hard. But I walked in there. I bumped into a guy when I had a camera out there for a few years. I went and got it and sat there and talked to him. I even gave him my spot. I was like, I'll be hunting next year. So like this year I'm not. And he ended up sending me a picture. He didn't hunt in my spot, but he shot a pretty good little 8 point. But yeah, like Indiana, like, especially where I live, you go northern, it's not there's not as much public land, but where I'm at, there's more public land than you can figure out. And I'm super topography, like where Quint, my
Yeah.
buddy, he came out and we started walking around the trail. It was like 90 degrees and it's ridges, and we had to go. I knew where the spots I want to check out were in them ridges. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I was like, let's go to my honey hole. It's an easy walk. And I'm glad we didn't, because we were dead just from that like half-mile walk to my normal spot.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, because that again, that is the one thing that I was like, I don't really love this, and I was just curious when you think about getting a crew together to do like a little hunting camp on some public land down there. Do you sort of envision it being a camp scenario setting where it's like everybody comes back to a campground in the evening,
Yeah.
or like an Airbnb?
An Airbnb would probably be better, honestly, just the world we live in now. But a camp would be cool too, especially if it depends on the time of year you're at. But an Airbnb would honestly that would be cooler. Everybody pitching for like an Airbnb, and even if it was smaller, some guys could camp. I know a bunch of guys got pop-up trailers and stuff. But yeah, I think an Airbnb would be the way to go, because you can enjoy it a little more, take some showers, and
Yeah.
I know a lot of guys are diehard about their scent control and everything. And when you're at a campfire, it's different. But either one, it just depends, because some of these spots, it'd be hard to find Airbnb where these big wood spots are. But I mean,
Gotcha.
I live right in the city. I live if I walk out the door, I'm in Louisville in 15 minutes.
Okay.
And I could be in the middle of 10,000 acres in another 30. So
Yeah.
I'm very blessed where I live. Any direction I go, I can hit public land other than right towards the Ohio, because the Ohio is right there by Louisville.
So I did a lot of backs of my truck hunting last year. Like I'd just live in that thing instead of like getting an Airbnb, or my brother and I were in Kansas a lot. So it's like, well, get a hotel every few days just to rinse off, like you can only wipe yourself down with dude wipes so many times and it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
But I just was curious, because I've done the campgrounds here with my buddies, and I've done Airbnbs with some friends. And I've done Airbnb once with my family, once with my brother, and then once with a group of guys in Kansas, but we were hunting in Nebraska. Love it. Love the ability to cook a meal in a kitchen and sleep comfortably, because it is mentally exhausting if you do not sleep well and then get up at 4, if your alarm goes off at 4:00 in the morning and you haven't slept well. At my advanced age anyway. You're still a young man. You can probably
it's starting to get me now.
Oh, daddy likes to sleep these days.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, man. I can't sleep like I used to either. I used to be able to sleep on the ground when I was a kid. I'd curl up next to a log, man, and I'd pass right out. And I can still do it. I'll still fall asleep in the stand, but
Yeah.
I definitely like my sleep, and especially if you're hunting in the rut, doing an all-day sit. I still never done an all-day sit. Like last year, I was going to do it, and then end up shooting this buck an hour and a half later. But,
the one that you sent me a picture of?
Yeah. Like, I got him right here. Like the picture's like, he was such a big bodied buck. Like,
oh yeah,
it don't do him justice. Like he broke off his points. He probably been an 8 point just for that area, but he got super thick bases.
Yeah,
that's why I did a Euro, just because like you can actually see how thick he is.
Mm-hmm.
But he was the most mature deer I had. I had bigger bucks on camera, well,
let's I was going to talk to you about living with a woman. And since we just talked about like living situations, let's just touch on this and then move on, because I think it's worth noting.
Yeah,
my wife loves to clean, and I don't want to take that away from her, so I allow her to do that.
Exact same.
And we've had this joking conversation, like whatever. Like I do clean up after myself. It's the kids that don't. But there is a level of filth that I would be willing to accept as a living situation that in no way, shape, or form could she possibly handle. Like, I do not need to vacuum multiple times a week. I don't
Yeah.
think anybody needs to vacuum that much unless you've got multiple shedding dogs that live with you. Okay, I get it,
Yeah.
but we don't. Dusting, the wiping of the windows, like the wiping down of everything. Like, am I crazy? Like, as a
No,
man,
you're
do you
preaching
feel
to
the
the
same
choir,
way?
dude. I just had to talk to my girlfriend over the weekend about it because she's clean. She's like borderline OCD. Like you can see this. Like she keeps
It
it
is
nice.
immaculate, very
And I'm the
symmetrical.
same
Yeah,
way, man. Like because she was like, you need to do more to me. I'm like, I feel like I do a lot, but I made her make like a little chart. So I was like, give me what you want me to do, so I actually know. Because I'm the same way. I look at it, it don't look dirty at all to me. Like I know when dishes need to be done.
yep.
I know this laundry needs to be done, but like we have a bunch of hardwood floors and stuff. And I don't see nothing on it. I'm not gonna vacuum it or sweep it.
Yeah.
That's me, but yeah, women are a little different, especially I think like we got the country bone in us. Probably don't help a little bit. And I don't want to live in a pigsty. I hate that. Like I feel like I'm pretty clean for a guy.
Yeah.
But it's different and she's never been around a hunter. I'm the first guy she's ever been that's like an outdoorsy of a guy and everything. So that took it. Like when I shot my buck, like she was like, cool. Like she was proud of me, but she didn't
Yeah.
care. Like, you know what I mean? Not like if I
Uh-huh.
called you or something, like all the boys are fired up.
Yeah.
But I think it was probably her first dead deer head she saw too. So I showed her. She was just like, "Oh, cool," you know. But yeah,
Uh,
it's definitely different living with a clean woman, and I date her because she is like that. But it still gets under my skin, and I get under her skin the same way. You know?
yeah. Now you're doing the right thing. That's exactly what I said. I said, hey, listen, I can't read your mind. I do not expect the house to look this clean. You want something done? You tell me. You tell me, and
Yeah.
I will do it.
Yeah.
But I am never going to clean as much as you do. Ever, 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 ever.
No, and like Sundays, that's what she does. She sits there and cleans. I like sitting on my ass on a Sunday, man. Been working and doing all that, and drives her crazy a little bit. But I'm a simple man. Tell me what you want. Like
Yep.
girls' brains run a lot.
Yeah.
I've been having to talk to her. I think it blows their mind how like much we don't think.
Uh-huh.
You know.
Yeah. All right. Well, we won't talk about cohabitation for too much longer. We'll move.
Yeah.
We'll move on to Whitetail Bloodline because I'm always curious in what drives a single individual to try to put some guys together to form like a boy band, for lack of a better word. This is the hunting version of a boy band. I did it with ARO. Like my three friends that were hunting together, I was like, let's do something together. And then they don't. And so now it's just me and my brother. Yeah. But anyway, you've put a lot more effort into this. And what was it that made you want to like solidify your boy band?
Well,
I'm gonna keep saying that, by the way.
Mine's transformed a lot, man. It started in 2020 and it's 2026 now. And all together, at the beginning, it was just some close buddies, and they weren't as diehard as I was and everything. And I'm chill. I'm a chill dude. Like I know most people aren't going to put out as much content. I've been doing it for a long time, but I sit there and teach them, and it ends up like just leading towards different stuff. People want stuff. I didn't do this for money. Like don't get me wrong. Like I got some sponsors, and I get free stuff, which I love. That it saves me money and everything. But the first few guys I had on it, just like high school buddies and everything. They did it more for the money, and that's not why I did it. So we kind of had a falling out, and that was like 6 or 8 people, and that was just right when I'm getting going. The page didn't have a whole lot of things, so I'm just getting as many people as I could in those days, and it's just crazy how it transformed. I was younger, obviously 6 years younger, trying to figure this out, and had a great time. We started the podcast. Like I still talk to a couple of those guys, and my one buddy, he's still on the bloodline. My good bet, he's still my best friend, Dylan. He started it, and then I just did it because I wanted that camaraderie. Is honestly why I started, and then did the podcast. And they would come over to the house, and we did that for a long time, and it was great. And I honestly probably wouldn't have started the podcast as soon as I did, and I got lucky that I started. I think 2021 is when I did because my one buddy was pushing it, and because he knew how knowledgeable I am, and we could all just sit there and talk. And that was just, it was honestly mainly just get the camaraderie and start talking about it. And then after those guys, because we had to sit down, and they were like all trying to like make money. Let's do this to make money. I was like, I'm not doing it to make money. We kind of had a falling out. And then I got some other guys that were some actual diehard guys. Because after that, I was like, all right, I'm going to be more selective who I get on this. Get them for the right reasons. Don't want you to do it all for money. And then, yeah, man, it's just, I don't know. It's just everybody, things change. and people have different views. Like I never did it for the money. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to do this for a living, but it's especially nowadays it's harder just because everybody wants to do that. And I
Hmm.
more do it because I want to teach people. I want to teach people and like show a different path. Because I don't shoot giant bucks. I've shot some good bucks in my life, but you're not going to see me shoot a booner every year because I still haven't even shot a booner. My biggest is like a couple inches off of a booner. But I just try to teach people as much as I can, try to show that camaraderie and show people that it's like hunt for your reasons. If you want to shoot a 4 point just because you want to, if you're my good buddy, I might give you some shit for it. But just joking around,
Yeah.
but if you want to and it makes you happy, shoot it. That's all honestly all I care about, and be happy for what you do. And because I don't like when people make people feel bad, and I just try to do pointers, and I do like the Whitetail Bloodline different than a lot of guys. I kind of do mine in season and like post it as I'm going to like show people, and I post a lot of trail camera pictures. If I get a giant, I might not, but I post way too much, and people give me crap like, I can't believe you're posting that. I'm like, I'm trying to teach people, man. The only way I think to teach people is actually showing it in time, and it's done me good. I don't know if I answered that question. It's just
Yeah, you
it's
did, but
changed so
yeah,
much. The Whitetail Bloodline
sure.
has throughout the years, man.
No, you did, and you even took it a step further. I was trying to figure out if you were concerned, like if the reason that you started a group was because you felt like you and your friends were drifting away a little bit, and this was a way for you to stay together.
Well,
Um,
mine was the opposite. I didn't have any friends that
oh,
really hunted because I grew up. I went to a school where I was the one of few kids that hunted. Like I had a neighbor, got him back into hunting. He was like a gun hunter. I've done that with a bunch of buddies, man. Like my best friend Dylan, he's a diehard now. I don't know if you saw the post where he cut down. He's got this. We just bought a property a couple years ago, and he cut down trees. He's a logging fool. Cut down this huge food plot. He's done all that. I went there and helped him a little bit, mainly just to film him,
yeah.
got him ate up with it because he hunted when he was a kid. He got out of it, and then I got him back into it. But honestly, that's the reason I started the Whitetail Bloodline, was to get that camaraderie back because I didn't
Oh,
have it. Because
okay.
like the school I went to like a preppy school. They called us the Floyd snobs. It's Floyd knobs, just because like even though we had a big demographic of people, but yeah, like people just my friends don't really hunt. Most of my friends that hunt are people I've met online. Honestly, I have
Okay.
like my one group, my best friend Dylan, he's ate up with it now. But other than that, it's people online that I get my hunting thing from now.
Yeah, I did not have many people that I grew up with that hunted and or hunt today.
Yeah,
There's more than I thought, but there wasn't as many as a lot of people I know. And so you're right. The community that we have here, whether it be Instagram or Facebook or social media or however you want to look at it, TikTok, the TikToks, like whatever this community is really great for, like, there's a lot of bullshit. There's a lot of negativity that goes with it as well. I think that's inevitable when you get online, but
yeah,
the positives have so far outweighed the negatives, as far as making connections and meeting new people and doing fun things and going on adventures that I maybe otherwise never would have been able to do. But thankfully, because of this community, it's worked out. So that's interesting. I sort of did. Mine was the opposite. Mine was like, oh, I've got a friend that lives up north. I got a friend that lives over here, and I got a family, but nope, they don't have a family yet. So it's like, let's try to do something cool,
yeah,
and then like collaborate on. It was initially just going to be video stuff. It was not going to be a podcast. And
yeah,
then when the
yeah.
video stuff, I just didn't love the editing, and so I was
It's
like, well,
bananas.
I know how to podcast. I'll just do this. So now
Yeah.
that's kind of what it's evolved into. But when you do you struggle with keeping it alive with the coming and going of different people? Like, do you ever does it ever burn you out?
Oh yeah, I got burnt out, man, because I had that real tight group, and I don't want to say nothing bad, but I had
That's
one
okay. You don't
guy.
have to.
Yeah, we had one guy who kind of pinned us in between each other, uh, and like that. And I'm chill, man. I'm fiery. I grew up. I'm pretty fiery. I'm a cool guy. If you come at me, I'm gonna come at you. But he pinned us against each other, kind of, and then they ended up left, and then that one hurt. And the crazy thing is, the day they all ended up, there was three of them, and they ended up leaving the bloodline. My girlfriend broke up with me the same day. So the four people I was closest to all dipped on me. So I took a big hiatus. That's probably where you like saw me not post as much. And it took me a while to get back into it because I got burnt out. Because at that time I was working construction, I get done with the 8-10 hour day. I'd get home and they would send me stuff and I would edit I would do, and I was doing a podcast at the time. So I was doing stuff for minimum 2 to 5 hours a day. If it was a recording day, or I was editing the podcast or editing reels, because they would just send me videos
Mm-hmm.
and I would edit everything. So I got burnt out from it real hard, man. And, yeah, I had my thoughts about it, but I knew it would come back, but I had to take a break from it. I still hunted that year. Didn't go as hard as I usually do, but it definitely does, man. Almost anybody I know that goes real hard with and they end up getting a breaking point at some point.
Yeah, I think it's because you're fighting against an almost unbeatable algorithm. Like there's almost no way to break through unless it's a happy coincidence or
Yep.
just sheer hard work and determination. You may get to where you see some sort of return, but the likelihood, like you said, it's so saturated that
Yep.
there's not like an incentive for a brand to choose you when
Yep.
there's so many people doing it. That's like, well, how would a brand even choose somebody? Everybody can listen to 500 podcasts a day on hunting if they wanted.
Yep.
Fucking 10,000, 100,000. I don't even know. I've never tried to look at how many podcasts there are. You gotta love it. And that's what I kind of where I was going with it. And I've said this before, and I know you know this. You love what you are doing with Whitetail Bloodline.
Yeah.
Deep
I think
down.
that's the difference, man, is because a lot of people don't do it for the pure love of it. I think they do it for the attention of it. And I'm a complete opposite. I do it for the love of it. And I actually, like, my favorite thing is, man, when I'm doing stuff and I teach people, like, just because a lot of these, I follow so many people that, like, I know for a fact, not to sound cocky, I've just been hunting a long time. I'm a better hunter than, but they kill way bigger bucks than me every year. But that's not why I do it. I do it just for the pure love of the game. And I could have went around door knocking, trying to find these big bucks. But the past few years, my passion was trying to kill, because I'm losing my parents' property, the family property I've grown up on. So hunting that 27 acres, that was like my goal the past couple of years, was kill deer on that, because I knew I'll never have that again. I'm going to hunt the rest of my life. But to hunt on that family property I grew up on, and they get some big bucks that walk through, but it's hard. You got to be lucky. There's a lot of luck into it to kill them big bucks. But yeah, I just do it for the pure love of the game, man. It's just like you can tell the guys that love it.
Yeah, you know what's funny? You just took us somewhere that I have written down that I didn't even have to ask, and it was your family property.
Yeah.
The buck that you have there in front of you, and the buck that you have pinned on your Instagram page, with sort of a heartfelt post along with it about how it's very emotional to you and how it meant a lot. And take us through kind of like that buck specifically, like first seeing it, setting up, hunting, killing it. Like what was that? What was killing that deer that season?
Yeah, that was a crazy one, because it's been in the talks losing this property for 2 or 3 years. So I think at least the past 2 years, I was like, oh, it was like that was a bunch of my posts was like, it's my last year to hunt it. And then it pushes on like, oh, they haven't sold it yet, because they don't want to sell it. They're just getting older, man. It's too much house. Family's all grown up. Nieces and nephews are all growing up. And that buck, he's probably the most meaningful buck I've ever killed. Like, he means way more than my biggest. It's just like just knowing that he's a mature buck. I've had years of history with him, and just watching this property grow, because it's 27 acres. It's like a long rectangle. It's just what we've been able to do with that property from when we moved there. My junior year of high school, I was like 16, 17. And it started off on just hay fields. Farmer would come in there, do big old round bales of hay. And see a couple bucks. I got a YouTube video of I killed a pretty good 8-point that first year. It was my first self-filmed kill. And it's just watching that property grow, and just like the memory of it and how much that property's taught me. If it wasn't for that property, I would not be nowhere near the deer hunter I am today. And it let me, like, I started doing food plots a lot. Did it a little bit before, did the food plots, and just had a whole vision of what I wanted this property to be. And then flash forward to this buck that I killed this year, how it all came together and how good this property came. Because I think in those like 14 years, we've killed like 16, 17 bucks. There's been multiple people's first bucks killed on there. Like my dad killed his first Indiana buck off the property, and I don't know, what is it, 20 years until he killed the one. My nephew's killed his first deer, got that on YouTube. He's killed a bunch of bucks on that property, and watching him grow too, because he was 7 years old and I was hunting with him. And I've taught him and I've gave him the passion, which that's a whole big meaning to that, because he was 7 when he killed it, and then now he's 18 this year. So watching him grow,
Wow.
watching him gain this passion, and I'm a big part of that because I have 7 nieces and nephews, and he's the only one that has the bug. And he's a killer, man. He's got that shot, like they got the YouTube, and he's 7, dude, using a crossbow, and this crossbow's big as him. Like watching him lug it, it's funny, dude. He could barely lug it around, but we practiced. I knew he was deadly with it, and just it's just the whole thing of watching the property grow from hayfields, and now it's big CRP, and there's persimmon trees that naturally grew everywhere. And we did the food plots, and watching these bucks grow up for years and years. I got another buck next to me I called Homeboy. I had him for years and shot him on it, and then for it all finally to come together, like that morning, it was just one of those weird mornings. It was November 8th. My last 2 bucks were actually I've killed on November 8th. Killed a Kentucky public land, my first year hunting public land, on November 8th. But this buck, I got on him the week before, had a big 10 point. He was younger than him. He's probably a 4-year-old, maybe a 3-year-old. He's probably might have been a really good genetic 3-year-old. But on that property the last year, he came at last light, drew back on him and everything, but I just couldn't see him. And then it was like 5, I think it was the 5th. So 3 days later, I climb in, and I actually got in the stand at like 9 o'clock. It was like 8:30 or 9. I had bad fog that morning. I was like, I'm gonna do an all day sit. And I climb in the
Had you
stand.
seen the buck that you ended up killing? Had you seen him before at all?
Never in person. I got some pictures of him. I had pictures of him. I think looking at old pictures, because I got a bunch of pictures. I think I got him as a 2.5-year-old. And a
Okay.
lot of these bucks, they won't stay on the property. Like some of them will. Actually, I think he was there a year and a half ago. I think, or 2 years ago, whatever it was. I think I got a bunch of pictures of him. But it's just like this property's so small. Like
Yeah.
if they're running through this property in 30 seconds. If they run like the width ways. The long ways is different. It starts on the hill, the house is there, there's a creek, and it's just a good transition area. Like
Mm-hmm.
my he killed one of the biggest bucks ever on like youth weekend. But once that like early October goes through, then they disappear and they come back in the rut. And I had to have this buck on camera all year. I got him roughly a week before at nighttime, and didn't even know he was in there anymore. He was like just messing around with this little buck, but he's a bully buck. He's the most mature buck. And that buck I drew on, I think he kicked, because he was on a hot doe. I think he kicked that buck off. Where that buck was is where this buck ended up coming from. And it was like a meant to be buck, man. Like that morning, I get in there late. I did it on purpose, just because it was real foggy. I was like, oh, I'm gonna get these bucks in this. You always hear you'll hit them from that 10 to 12 window, the mature
Yeah.
bucks. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go for it. I did that, and I climb up, and I didn't see nothing all morning. And I see this little 8 point comes in, and he got my wind a little bit, and he runs off. And then I got a YouTube video of this, and when I'm recording the video, you can hear me, like I keep hearing stuff behind me, but there's so many squirrels. I'm like, it might be a squirrel. And then 10 minutes later, that little 8 point, I look back, he's right behind my tree. And I look back, and that buck's behind him, and there's a doe. And it was just crazy how it worked out, because in the video, I have one shooting lane, and this buck's like, he's trotting, catching up this doe, and I had to stop him. Like my camera's not even in the right spot. I had to bring the camera like all the way around so I could draw my bow where he's at. Stop him. Somehow he stops behind this like pine tree enough, doesn't know I'm there. And then I get ready, get the camera on him. I draw back, and then he takes more steps on, and he's quartering towards me super hard. It's the most quartering shot I've ever had, and somehow just sent it in there and center punch him. And in the video, you can see I go through a whirl of emotions. I thought I shoulder shot him, because I was
Mm.
sitting pretty high.
Yeah.
And then I call my buddies, talking to them, and I relook at the video, and then I realize it went down to the fletches. But how it entered, went right by the shoulder, and then ended up going through the back leg. So it probably like nicked the first
Wow.
lung, or probably almost pretty good center punch the first lung, and then nicked the back lung.
Mm-hmm.
And then you know how it is. You shoot a buck, and you're just like freaking out, kind of. And I have a camera, so you're trying to grab the camera, and you're not looking where the buck is. That's one thing. It's hard with self filming. And then I went to where I shot him. There was like a little dead tree or something. I knew exactly where it was. Found hair, no blood. So I'm like, I'm gonna back out, get my buddy. He gets there in like an hour, and then we walk in there, no blood, 60 yards. But the angle was so high, and I didn't get a pass through, so it took a while for the blood to rise up to that hole, I think. Because right when we found blood, he was like 40 yards there. Like I'm filming it, looking down, and my buddy's like, "There he is!" And dude, I was fired up. Like, and just the world, probably being the last buck, might end up getting another year on that property. But especially being that big of a mature buck, it was the most mature buck I've killed in Indiana off that property, and I've killed a good amount over here. But it's hard to explain when you're losing the property, and a lot of people are going through that right now. If it's a lease or parents have to sell because taxes are getting higher, property taxes and everything, and yeah, it's just I can't explain it. It's just probably will always be one of my most, if not most, memorable buck ever.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. It's a cool story. It's cool because you have such a long history with the property. You know, like it probably true. Correct me if I'm wrong. It probably could have been any buck.
Yeah.
And,
oh yeah. Any buck that was yeah.
Yeah. Sure. When you close that chapter, it's like it's got to be a really bizarre feeling. I know what it feels like when you kill a buck that you've been watching for a really long time, and the buck is now dead, and you can't watch him on camera anymore. It's a very bizarre feeling, like it's over. And then for you to have that chapter close on such on a far more immense topic, your home that you lived in and you spent time in, and this property that you developed, it's got to be a really strange feeling. Like how do you get past the emotional response?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I'm an emotional dude. I cry at movies and stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, but
I do
this
too.
one
It's
was just
fine.
like it just felt meant to be with this buck because I hadn't shot a buck since that Kentucky buck in 2017, and I passed a bunch of bucks. Like the year before, I had a big 9-point come in, and I could have slung an arrow at him. He was like 35 yards, but I wanted to be the right. Didn't want to wound him because on this property, a lot of people are like, you don't hunt property lines. On this property, you have to hunt property lines because most of it's field. Most of it's CRP. You can put a blind in it. But our woods, we have a little section of woods on the one side, and then all of our property surrounded with at least a tree line. So we have to hunt the property line. I used to have permission to hunt on like basically both sides, and then other people bought it, and one lady died. And it's a hard thing to explain, but I got emotional, but not as emotional as I thought I would get. Like,
okay,
don't get me wrong, I was emotional about it, but it was just like it was more of like a relief that I got it done. I was like, got that last buck on there, and yeah, I don't know how to explain it, man. It's a hard thing to explain.
Do you feel like you mentally were you starting to prepare what's next for Gavin? Like, were you already like, okay, after this book is done, my next adventure looks like what?
Yep, I thought about that for sure. Luckily, I spent some time on because this property doesn't heat up a whole lot until the rut heats up. So about 2 years before, 3 years before I knew their parents were talking about selling it, I started going on public land. So I luckily already scouted quite a bit of stuff. I knew there were some big bucks on there, but yeah, after like last year, I was like, yeah, it's probably done for private for a while because I can do some door knocking, but I got so much public land, and I kind of want to do that because it teaches you a lot more. When you're on private land, you can kind of make it what you want to be. You can like force deer to in a certain way to do what you want, food plots, cutting trails. When you're on public land, it's a whole different game. Anybody can come mess your hunt up. You can't really mess with the property. You just gotta like figure out these deer. And I'm a pretty good deer hunter. I'm good at reading sign, but public land will humble you. So I kind of want to do that and teach myself more and just do a whole different type of thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So when you say hunting hard, you said it earlier, like hunting hard and being ate up with it and going hard. Like, what does that look like for you? Multiple states? Is it
I did multiple states. Like this year, I'm gonna hit 2 states.
Okay.
I'm gonna go hit Wisconsin public land with my buddy Quinn.
Really?
Yep. For he's from Full Draw. What is his name? Full Draw Pursuits. He's my good buddy. He just stopped by. Actually, he went and scouted Kentucky and Ohio and stopped by, and we spent a day together and showed him at some Indiana public for the first time, and then we went glassing just around where my parents live just to look at bucks so I could show them some Hoosier bucks.
Mm-hmm.
But what was the question you guys went blank?
Just what does going hard look like for you? Is it multiple states? Is it just incredible, like taking the whole months of October, November off? Like, what does going hard mean to you?
Yeah, it transformed. Like when I had the private, I go hard. Like, the amount of time it takes to do a food plot, especially by yourself, it's crazy. I mean, I couldn't tell you how many hours because I did kiddie pools and I was digging kiddie pools with shovels in the hard heat just to get them a water hole. Doing food plots, you got to till it up, you got to spray it. I was doing everything with a backpack sprayer. Like that was the whole thing with the Whitetail Bloodline too. Is like, if I can do it, you can do it. Like, I might have this 27-acre property, but I don't have a lot of money. I'm not a guy that's rich. I'm not going buying hunts. I don't have a whole lot of money to do stuff. That's one thing that sponsors mean a lot to me, and that's why I don't do it for the money. It's just because the sponsors saved me money to give me the passion and gave me the ability to do a lot more stuff, from like clothing or whatever it is, or getting sent arrows, because it all adds up, especially when you have a life. And like, I got my girlfriend and we're going on vacation next week to visit her family, and it all costs money. And so going hard, like public land scouting your ass off, and trying to find these deer and everything, it's just like doing what the average guy won't do. Because a lot of guys, you can sit there and be lackadaisical and be in a pity party about like not getting on bucks, or you can put in the work. And one thing I've learned is if you actually put in the work, good things usually happen. Because the seasons I go hard and put in the work is almost always end up killing a buck. And then the past couple of years when I was going through all that stuff we were talking about, and not putting in the work as much, didn't kill a buck. And I think that correlates for sure.
Two thoughts. Was your difficult year the year you had a spider bite that was from hell?
Dude, I just got bit by another one.
Come on.
Yeah, like, it's not as bad. Like, that one still got the scar from that one. But yeah, that was the same year.
Oh my God, you were cursed that year.
Yeah, and then I just got bit by another brand recluse, but luckily this one wasn't as bad. So got bit right in the family jewelry.
Right near your beans?
He's about that far from the beans. Luckily, this one healed in about a week. That one took like a long time, but
bro,
yeah, I wouldn't wish that on nobody.
I was super worried about your leg when you had that thing going on. I thought, that looks not good.
And everything, and I think I got bit twice. I squeezed it and made it worse. I mean, it was pussed up and had to go to the ER because the urgent care people were freaking out because it wouldn't stop bleeding. And the doctor's like, "Wrap it tight, you'll be all right." I was like, "All right."
Don't be a pussy.
Yeah,
spit on it, you wimp.
Yeah, but yeah, that one sucked. Dude. That one put me in tears. Like, I think it was just because it's right by that main artery in your leg.
Yes.
And dude, every time I'd stand up and I would rush past it, like, I don't know. I think it's because I squeezed it. I was trying to squeeze it, and I don't know if I moved the poison deeper or what. But that one, like this one I had, it hurt. This last one, and it's in a more tender spot, kinda. But that one was, dude. It was one of the most pain I've ever been in. I broke my ankle. I got rods in my ankle. I dislocated my hip, and that was up there with those.
Word of advice: avoid the brown recluse.
Yeah.
From now on, you avoid them. I got
bit in my underwear, dude. I have no idea.
There is some homoerotic or OnlyFans material where you were in your underpants and you got wrangled by a brown recluse. I think that someone's got to pay extra to see.
Hey, might give me to a couple more states.
That's right. So and now thought number two. Are you cognizant of what your limits are? So and the reason I say that is I have last couple of years I've bit off more than I can chew. I've bought tags in too many states. I've spread myself too thin. And then at the end of the season, I'm frustrated because I didn't put enough effort into one place or another. Like, are you aware of what your limits are currently, or are you still looking for those?
So. I think so, because I would love to go hunt like Kentucky or Ohio this year. But I just know, like, you got the family life, you got work and everything. So I got Wisconsin. I'm gonna go spend like a week out there in Wisconsin, and I'm gonna be semi-picky, but it's Wisconsin's a big state. It's maybe other than Michigan, the most hunters in the whole country. And luckily, he's doing all the work for me. Like my buddy Quentin, he's a good dude, so he's gonna put me on some stuff. But I'm not gonna be crazy picky. I'm not gonna go in there looking for a booner. I'm gonna try to shoot a mature deer. But at the end of the week, if a good old 2 or 3 year old walks out and I'm paying the money for it, I'm probably gonna send it. Especially being with him, having the memory of us finding a deer and everything. So it's just like what you want. I think time's one of the main things. It's how much time you got. Because if I can go to Wisconsin 15 times in the year, I'm gonna be more picky. But I got 7 days to get it done, and so I'm gonna be a little picky because that's what I want to do. I want to shoot a big buck, but we'll see. Right?
Well, let me paint a picture for you. It is morning number 2, and the sun has come up. It is starting to defrost the limbs. It's melting. It's getting a little foggy. You can see your breath. And in walks a 2-year-old 8-point framey, like definitely good genetics, obviously a skinny 2-year-old, great genetics. Well, let's just say a 130 class 8-point walks in. That's a pretty good fucking 8-point.
I'm
By the
shooting a
way.
130. He's dead.
Yes, morning two,
Oh
and
yeah,
he's done. I
100%.
love
And
it.
then we're gonna enjoy it a couple more days, and then I'm gonna head home early.
I hear you, brother. Me too.
A
All
130, yeah,
day,
I'm smoking a 130.
all day.
But if
And
it's
that,
like a
yeah,
normal, not a great genetic on day 2, I'll
yeah,
probably let him walk.
yeah.
But after like day 4 or something like that, I'll probably end up saying, especially hunting with him because he's a big meat hunter and he'll be itching for me to shoot at that point too. And if I don't
Let
shoot
me,
him, and
yeah.
he'll shoot that buck probably too. If he hasn't tagged out, he'll probably shoot that buck.
All right, I'm going to throw a wrinkle into this scenario. Okay. It is morning 2, but night number 1, you saw with your own eyes a booner. Okay. You saw him. He was out of range. Let's just say you're in the rut. He was hot on a doe. You grunted. He ignored you. He is in the area. The same buck walks in morning 2, that 130-inch 8-point. Are you still shooting the 8-point?
Probably not.
There it is.
I had a pretty similar scenario in Kentucky. That last buck I shot before this buck, and oh, dude, every night we saw a shooter buck. It was crazy. Like the opening week or the opening day, we get in there, it was a time change, and we didn't know it. So we're driving in, and it's starting to get light. And we're like, oh shit! So we get to the spot where we're gonna hunt. And I was like, dude, because it changes a lot. Like especially because this is like a river bottom, and it was so thick when I went and scouted it in the summer and stuff. Where I was like, I'm not walking through that. And we get in there and it's changed. You can see way more. You can actually walk through this stuff. So I'm like, we're going to walk through that. And we walk all through this bedding area, get to this other spot I want to check. A big old mature buck. He wasn't like the world's biggest buck, but he was big mature buck. Was with like 3 does. We watched him run off. So I was like, we're setting up there. I was like, I always heard the bump and dump. They'll come back sometimes. So we sat there that evening. He comes at 30 yards, but walks right through CRP. And there's no way I could have got an arrow through him. But after that, we started figuring out putting cameras in, and we'd set up in like what do they call it? We just like a lookout stand. You don't want to go into the good stuff, but you're kind of like looking out for it. Can't think
An
of the
observation sit.
Observation sit, yeah. And we did that, and so that was day 1. Day 2, we get into a spot and we see these bucks every day. We saw a shooter buck, and they were like moving in the same spot, so we moved a little closer. And then it was like night 3, we got in that spot, and I don't think we could hear them going through, but we didn't see them. And then I just had that feeling, had a camera there. We went to lunch one day, and you could see my tree stand in the background, and a big old buck runs by. So I was like, that next morning, I'm going to kill. My buddy started getting like a bunch of movement on his Indiana property that it was hunting with me filming. He's like, I'm not going to go with you. And I was like, dude, it's your day to hunt because we were swapping off hunts. I was like, we're going to kill a deer. I'm telling you. He's like, no, I'm going to go hunt my private. And I climb up, and that's when I smoked that buck. Second deer I saw, good old 8-point. And that's a whole nother story. I hunted the opening week in September and jumped up that buck. And it was the first mature buck I wanted to shoot was on camera. And then like a quarter mile, half mile away, I ended up shooting that same buck, which is crazy.
Was he in velvet the first time you saw him?
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
Because we saw a good sign. And then where I got him on picture was like 1,000 yards away. We went back there. Should have sat on that good sign. It rained. We come back and we're like, let's sit on the ground. We start like getting in this like falling down cedar. And right when we get settled, this buck's been watching us this whole time. We walked by him, walking in, and he jumps up 25, 30 yards from us. And it just happened to be that same buck. And then so that was first week of September, like September 7th or 8th. And then end up shooting him on November 8th on a connecting property. It's the same chunk, but you know how they have different ones. Yeah.
So earlier you were talking about like finally getting some trail cameras out and everything. Do you have is there a portion of your year where you're like, God, I'm just like no deer. No, I don't want to talk about deer. I don't want to talk about hunting. Like I just need a break. Is there a portion of your year that looks like that, or are you deer all the time?
I mean, I'm deer all the time to a certain extent because I'm always on the Whitetail Bloodline and talking with some buddies and everything. But once the season ends, especially like this late December, once like the holidays start to hit, I don't think about deer hunting as much. I'll still have cameras out and everything, but that's more the family time. It's so cold. I don't love hunting in the cold, dude. I really don't. Like when it's bitter cold, I try to get tagged out before it gets cold. That's my goal
Yeah.
every year. So like that frame to then, and then it depends. Like on the family property, I would always try to get cameras out just to see, but you can't. It don't really, especially on your properties. Like I've had bucks on the family property in the summer, and they would stay, but the majority of the time, where you got your summer bucks, they're probably not going to be there in the fall. So like right now is a good time to get cameras out, especially if you know good areas. And for like one thing, I'm not the best at pinpointing exactly where a buck's at. I'm better rut hunter. I'm better at finding does. I think that's the best way to get on a big buck for like the rut is know where these does are, and then when the rut rolls up, like Halloween comes in, you know where these does are, and you pick like a pinch point or you pick a good funnel, and that's how I've killed majority of all my bucks. I've gotten lucky. I shot my biggest bow buck in Indiana on October 2nd. It was the second day of season. First sit, 45 minutes into it, just happened to be in the right spot. Shot a big buck, but I'm definitely a better rut hunter, and that's one reason I want to get into public land is kind of diving in, figuring out exactly where these bucks are, and trying to go to him instead of waiting for him to come to me.
It is now the time of year where you're like turning it up just a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure. Because you can see how big a buck's gonna be by this point. Like, and a lot of time I've noticed with my family property, even this public land, a buck you have right now, he's gonna disappear. But a majority of these bucks, just what I've noticed, might not be everywhere, but they usually come back in the rut. Might only be a day, might be a week, but if there's a buck there in the summer, he knows where these does are. The does don't really leave. They might in the winter when it gets cold and travel. But them, I think that's why they do excursions too. Like I've noticed bucks will go like every month, month and a half. I think they go check things out to see if the land's changed. Maybe they check to see if it's logged. They check back on their does. So I think these big mature bucks breed the same does a lot of the time every year. So if you get a big buck, I think there's good odds he might walk right back through that spot that he's at. And I've noticed big bucks will only use certain trails too.
It's interesting you say that. I've never thought about them breeding the same doe multiple years in a row, but it would make sense. I like that
believe
theory.
that for sure. I believe it for sure because a deer's nose is so much better, and they communicate like in ways we don't know. They've been doing studies for years and years, but just because I've had the same buck come through the property within a 5 day, maybe a week, but sometimes to the day, year after year. And that's the coolest thing about having just a 27-acre property where I have a bunch of cameras on it. So I'm not going to get every deer on it, but I'll get a good amount of the deer because especially I put a bunch of cameras between cell cameras and card cameras, and you'll see the same bucks come back year after year in that same window. So that's why I think they're breeding them same does because they know when she's going to get hot.
I think you're right. I like that. You know, I got really excited today. I got a little anxious and put a bunch of cameras out in Illinois in March, but I thought I had them really set up with high quality lithium batteries and solar panels. And son of a bitch, if most of them haven't died already. But I had one camera die this morning, but the last thing it sent me was a video request from yesterday of the one buck I've been dying to see on that property. He is alive. We call him hot and ready because he's big as fuck, and he has one super crazy right side that's like this year he looks like he's got a triple beam. I'm so fucking excited. Anyway, I just wanted to share that. I'm mad that the battery's dead, but I'm so excited that the last thing I got was that video.
And that's what I use cameras for a lot of the time is just to know a deer's in the area. Because then you kind of have to like hunt fresh sign, or if you know the property, like I've known this property forever and it switches, they start learning you. They know where your like stands are and stuff. Like that's one thing I think I killed my buck this year because where he's at, it's the closest stand to the house. Like it's 150 yards maybe from the house, and I never hunted there. There's been a ladder stand there for years, and I climbed in that ladder stand, and that was just the spot to be that year because I hunted a bunch of other spots, had food. I didn't do food plus last year, but I think that's one thing the deer will learn you too, especially on a property that small. They start figuring it out, and I switched it up and like just started noticing stuff. And last year I didn't leave a rock unturned, and I think that helped. You don't want to get stuck in your ways.
Yeah, last year I got excited and I shot a buck, and I'm not mad about it. It was this guy right here, and not mad at all about it. But I later realized that Hot and Ready was the most killable deer on that property for the rest of the season. Like he was on camera every single day. Fine, cool. He's alive. I just got video evidence of that. And so now I look at that 25-acre piece and I go, okay, I know exactly what he did last year for the last half of October and the first half of November. He was there every single day, daylighting multiple times. I know with confidence that if I go there, I can be patient and I can be selective, and maybe I'll have a crack at hot and ready. But similarly, I use my cameras for inventory, and if they happen to tell a bigger story, great.
Yep. Exactly.
I love that, but I'm using them like I just love watching deer on camera. And to finally see him is really exciting.
It's funny you say that. My buddy, who's part of the bloodline, he's been there since the day one. He's the only one that's been there since day one. He had a similar thing. He knows this big buck called Drop Time. We've been hunting him for 5 or 6 years. I think he's going to be 10 this year. It's a giant brute. And last year he was one of the biggest he ever was as like an 8 or a 9-year-old, which is crazy. But he shoots this buck, and he kind of knows his timeline, but he hasn't had that. It didn't have drop time since like October. Shoots that buck, and then the same stand. If he didn't shoot that buck, drop time comes in like right where that buck did. The next day, he got a trail camera picture of it. So this year, he's going to be a little more picky and hold off for him, because that's what they do, man. That some of them bucks just come in that little window, and you got to be picky. It's hard. Don't get me wrong, it's hard. And it's like when I shot that buck, he wasn't by far the biggest scoring buck, but I think he was the most mature buck that I had on camera the whole year. He was 5 or 6, I think, because I had a couple years of history with him and everything. But I mean, I had some giants on there, and I really didn't beat myself up about it, because a lot of guys, you shoot that buck, because I was tickled to death. He was mature. That's what I'm after. I'm going for mature deer, is what I am. But I mean, I had some bucks that came in later in the season. Was just like, God, where did you come from? And then they were pretty consistent towards the end of the season. But luckily, my nephew was hunting, and I was hoping he'd get a crack. And he ended up actually missing that one buck that I drew on. He ended up missing it. He got his first taste of buck fever on like the opening week in a gun. We watched this buck come from like 300 yards, and it was windy and everything, but he usually don't miss. But we watched that buck long enough. I think he got buck fever for the first time, like hardcore.
Let me ask you this. So now that you're kind of like cranking it up a notch, now that it's middle of July, which is ridiculous to say, I cannot believe it. What is, like, if someone was relatively new to either land management on their own property, or someone who's getting into public land, like with you and wanting to teach and learn, help other hunters learn, what is like the single most valuable piece of advice you would give to somebody in the middle of July?
Putting boots on the ground, man, especially if you're on public land, just walking. Like, one thing I think is the easiest way to start getting pictures of some deer, even if you don't know sign well, is walking creeks, because you can always see a good creek crossing. And that's where I put the one camera. I always wanted to put a camera there, but I put a camera. Haven't had a deer walk by it yet. It's been less than a week. But I know in the rut, that's going to be a money spot, just because we went and scouted it late season when there was snow. And I watched all these deer. Like, you can see the deer trails, and the property changed throughout the seasons. I think creek crossing's a great spot just to get some inventory. I've had great luck doing that. Boots on the ground. This time you're a little late because you can't really see sign anymore, but you can still see some good deer trails. If you're on private land, depending on the state, put some food out there, man. You still got time, because in Indiana, I think it's like 15 days you got to get it out. It depends on your state. Look at your state rules, but put some food out there. Mineral licks are a great spot. You can still got a little time to do a mineral lick. So a lot of your big bucks will hit mineral licks until this time. They're starting to wean off of it a little bit. Should have done it a little earlier. But I love a good creek crossing, and just getting cameras out there. And don't be afraid to move them, because I've noticed you put a camera here facing this trail, but if you just switch it 60 degrees that way, it's a whole different picture, and you'll get a whole lot of things. And we live in the cell camera world. Don't be afraid. Like, I don't got the most money in the world, but I try to put quite a few cell cameras out there. And yeah, man, creek crossing, I think that's the easiest way. Is like for an average hunter, because you can see a creek crossing, because it'll be indented into it, and you can just see where they're crossing. That's a good spot, especially this time of year. It's hot, and deer are going to be close to water. I like that spot. And then also, don't be afraid to put a camera in a good spot where you know it's a good trail, and just leave it there. Like right now, I'm not getting no pictures, but I know in October, November starts rolling around, especially because I know that property. that it's gonna change. And if it's a good trail and you can see it this time of year, it's gonna be an even better trail probably come fall.
That's huge right there. Is having the trusting in what your eyes saw.
Yeah.
Knowing that it is what it is for a reason, and then having the patience to set a camera there and just wait.
Yeah.
Because I am super anxious and I will go move a fucking camera.
Yeah.
But
I get pictures
I
on
know
the
what you
same
mean.
way. I'm like, I need to move this, but I know them deer are going to end up going by it at some point. So I'm just going to leave it.
Another spot that I love to look at they're not creek crossings, but it's if I said washout, you know what a washout is?
Yeah.
Sort of like a micro feature in a drain where it's like just sort of washed out. It's a little dip, but it's like on the side hill, maybe half of the way up. The deer will cross those primarily in the same spot. Again, it's similar to a creek crossing, but it's not down in the bottom. It's on the side hill. If you're down in hill country, finding that spot on a washout or an actual drain where the deer are routinely crossing, because again, like you said, if the does are there, at some point the bucks are going to be there.
Yep. One other spot, like I got this honey hole. I know it's going to produce come fall, and I got a camera there too. It's if you're in like a big thick area, and it's like I just know it. I've been doing it so long, so it's hard for me to like articulate what I'm saying. But if you're in like a thick area and you got good trails walking through it, and you find one good opening, that's all. Deer are going to gravitate towards that. They're going to walk through it at some point, and that's where this spot is. I ended up finding a community scrape on it years ago, and I remade it this year. I don't think there was one, but it might have been. They might just be hitting the limb. They're not pawing at the ground too much this year, but I broke up the ground a lot and then added a new limb on it, hung that there. But that's what that is. It's just topography change, because right behind the camera, it goes up and it's kind of like a little drainage, like you're saying. It's just topography change where it's like two hills converge and they like walking up that. And there's a creek crossing like 60 yards that way where it's just a deadbeat trail all year, especially late season during the rut and everything. But it's just a little opening in like a kind of a thicket. And for whatever reason, deer are edge animals, and I think they like that little open edge.
Let me ask you some this or that questions. Do you prefer, this is a triple, a big track, a big scrape, or a big rub?
I'm a scrape guy. I honestly do not look at tracks like I should. I mean, I've seen it, you may, oh, that's a big track, but I'm a scrape guy because a rub can mean a lot, and scrapes can too. But if you see a good community scrape where you can tell a bunch of deer hitting it, especially in the rut, so like I said, I'm more of a rut hunter. That's what I do. I love a scrape. A rub, if it's a giant rub, don't get me wrong. If it's a rub that's like a basketball or even a mini basketball size, that'll get you fired up too. But that could mean a lot, and he could just been walking by and $5 could have hit that. But a scrape is like a community hub. I always explain it like it's Facebook for deer. That's how they communicate. The does will hit it, the bucks, all of them will hit that. So I just love a scrape. That's my favorite place for a camera is a scrape that you found, and that's how I found that honey hole, and that's why I'm hunting there again. And I even made a natural ground blind and rebuilt it up this year right there. It's like 20 yards. It's just a good spot. Early season, it's hard to hunt in a tree stand that spot. And I've sat there, and I think I passed 13 bucks that one year sitting on the ground most of the time right there in that spot. And I had a bunch of younger bucks walk in once or twice like 6 feet from me in that spot. But I found that community scrape during the summer, and then I freshened it up and added my sense to it and stuff. And I love scrapes, especially with cameras. I think that's honestly better than a creek crossing and everything. If you have a scrape that's already there, I think that's the best place for a camera because it'll only heat up as season goes.
You know, I've recently discovered that depending upon what I find and what it is in or what's around it changes my reaction to it.
Yeah.
So I listened to this on a podcast. I think it was the Method podcast where a guy was like, well, I don't really care much about big tracks because if I'm in Kansas, there's a 130-inch 2-year-old that left a giant track, and I don't give a fuck about that.
Yeah.
He's like, but if I'm in Michigan, it's different. Like, if I find a big track in Michigan, I'm paying attention. But if I'm somewhere super thick and I find a giant, like a thumb-sized licking branch that's twisted up in the middle of this thick bedding area,
Yep.
That becomes my number one focus because of where it's at. Not just the fact that I found a scrape in a licking branch, whatever. If I'm somewhere else and I find a giant rub, depending upon where I'm at, changes how I perceive that sign. And I think it's cool to find all those things, but if you find it and then stop and then just kind of like do a 360 and look around, like, where am I and why is this here? I think you can really categorize what it is you have just found.
Yep. I agree. You know, like on public land, like my little honey hole, it's not far. It's like super easy walk, but hunting it as long as I have now, and your average guy who's not walking off the trail, this one's pretty far off the beaten trail, even though it's not a far walk. But your average public land guy, they hunt right off the trail, 50, 60 yards off the trail. And this spot's just caddy cornered in like a good spot. And they hunt all around it. They'll hunt a few hundred yards that way, a few hundred yards this way. And this spot's pretty thick. There's some topography change and everything in it. And it's like your big mature buck, they might bust in the open when they're chasing a doe or something, but that big mature buck don't like walking in the open for very long. And that's why I like those small little openings. Like this little opening is only like 10 yards by 10 yards, but it's pretty thick all around it. And with the topography change and that scrape, they just see it too. I listen to a podcast where supposedly they see UV type stuff and on fresh stuff and all that. But yeah, that's why I like that. I like making a mock scrape too, because I've made many mock scrapes that just stick out like a turd in a punch bowl, and then you end up getting big bucks on it for sure.
Not enough people use turd in a punch bowl like they used to. That was really popular a long time ago. And nothing says, I mean, that speaks volumes.
Yeah. Like I said, definitely not my generation. It's probably like more your age and older.
It is.
People my age never say that. I've said that. People are like, I've never heard that. I'm like, hey,
you're disgusting, Gavin.
Yeah.
Mechanical or fixed blade broadheads?
I'm a mechanical guy because I don't shoot much. For like being as diehard of bow hunter as I am, I'm very simple. I haven't shot my bow since I killed my buck on November 8th. And when it comes to me, I mean, I've been shooting a super, super long time. My dad was a big archery guy, so I had a bow in my hand at like 6 years old, technically. And I ended up using a crossbow. But I get my reps in, and I don't shoot far. Like my whole thing is figuring out how to get that deer within 30 yards. Is like more of my goal than practicing to 100. Like it does you good. Don't get me wrong. If you're good at 100, you're good at 30. But my whole goal is to figure out how to get these deer close, so it's a chip shot. And I like mechanical because I don't have to mess with my bow as much. And if you mess with fixed blade, especially like because I don't shoot super high, I shoot 60, 65 pounds. I'm not a dude just pulling 85, 80, 90 pounds or whatever. My whole goal is put in the work to get that deer close rather than have to shoot 55 yards because I'm not going to shoot 50. There might be a scenario, but every deer I've ever shot with a bow, they've been within 30 yards.
Heavy arrow or fast arrow?
I'm fast arrow because I don't pull as much weight back, and I shoot a mechanical, so it's a big cut into them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. I just was thinking about those while we were talking about. I'm like, I'm going to ask him a couple of this or that. Nothing crazy there. Just curious. I like to get people's perspective on stuff. I too only draw 65 pounds. I think I have a fairly moderate to light arrow, fast arrow, and I also use mechanicals. I'm using the Severs. Are you familiar with Sever?
Yep.
I like the product. They always work. I know that they just recently got rid of that like rubber collar that they use, but I've never had an issue with that. I don't know why they switched to a magnet. I just feel like it's one more fucking thing to need. And I just don't feel like that. But anyway, I'm using the Sever Hybrids 2.0, so a 2-inch diameter cut. Love them. Absolutely love them.
I've shot different things throughout the years. I shot NAPs, shot Spitfire. It might have been the Spitfire NAPs for a while. Mm-hmm. I've never had an issue with any mechanical ever. I don't know why. Shot Rex for a long time. Like that Kentucky buck I shot the 3-blade mechanical just to punch a hole in them, and now I shoot Rec. I shoot the 2-blade Rec now. Now I carried them in my quiver for 3 years and slung that arrow, and it made me a believer because that buck was quartering so hard. He was a huge bodied buck, and it put him down. So I'm going to keep rocking those. But
are they a sponsor of yours?
No.
I know that they do. I think they do some, but that's a Michigan brand.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. My buddy Quentin I'm going to hunt with, he's part of it.
I reached out to them on Instagram and tried to get him to come in studio. It's like a husband and wife team.
I had him on my podcast when I did my podcast. Matt Taggett, he's a good dude.
Yeah, they seem like nice people.
Yep. He's a
I
good
figured
dude.
they're in Michigan. Why not come over to Beefcake's studio and sound laboratory and do a
Yeah,
podcast?
yep. I
Anyway,
like them. I've never had an issue. And the
yeah,
only issue I did have is they had like the little metal like things that held them together.
yeah,
And I just me walking public and being rough and
sure.
bumping them, and then they would open. And I'm stubborn, and like I'm sure I could figure them out. They made the collars, but I ended up buying
Mm,
a new pack when they did that. But now they make it where it doesn't do that. They're like I don't know what it's called, but you can push them right back in now.
yeah.
So
The last thing I want to talk about, and then I'll cut you loose here, is you posted something recently about your relationship with Asio Gear.
yep.
And Asio is making absolutely premier camouflage and hunting apparel. I truly believe that. And I just was talking to somebody the other day where it's like I'm a hodgepodge guy. Like my thing is I need to be comfortable. If that means I have $25 insulated Wrangler ATGs and a camouflage hoodie, whatever. Like, but if I have in the early season, I'll definitely wear my Asio lightweights because they have that vent on the side. Fucking
Oh,
love that.
that's the best.
And I got their midweight vest. Like I have a little bit of everything. They seem like a phenomenal brand and company. I think their Raptor pattern is second to none.
Yep.
Tell me about how you met Joe and how that relationship started and why you wanted to be affiliated with a brand like Asio.
Yeah, I remember when it came out. I remember right when Asio came out. It might have been a year before I talked to Joe. I can't remember what year it was. But this is my fourth year with them. Been affiliated with them and on pro staff with them. But I remember seeing it and I was like, dude, I love that. Because I'm kind of picky about my camo, the way it looks. Like, I think Sika makes good stuff. I got buddies that rock it, but I hate the pattern. I think it's the ugliest pattern. And I think a deer will pick you off. I don't care what people say. I'm very picky. I shot mossy oak and real tree just because it was cheap for one, but I love the mossy oak, especially for different times of the year because it blended in. But the Asio is hands down my favorite pattern I've ever seen. For one, how it started. Like I had Joe on my podcast and he talked about it, how it comes from a natural predators. All this stuff is from a natural predator, an owl. Or if you ever been hunting, I watched owls land in the tree and you're like, where the hell did he just go?
Yes.
Because they blend in, and that's where the raptor starts. Is it comes from the great horned owl, and that's how Joe got the idea. Same thing. He watched it land, and he disappeared right there to a tree because they're the silent predator. There's not a better sitting in a tree, come down and kill you predator. And that's where he got his idea. And just Joe too. Joe is probably hands down my favorite guy in the whole industry. He's super humble. I don't know if you've ever seen his whitetail wall, and
No, I don't think I've ever seen the wall.
Oh my Lanta, dude! It's like it's huge. It's crazy. He's a killer. He's just so humble. I met him at ATA 4 years ago. I walk up and luckily I was like had a decent name in the industry and I walk up and like some of his guys were like, "What's up, Gavin? Whitetail Bloodline." So that helped me. And then I sat there and talked to him for a while. I was like, "Joe, you don't know me," but I was like, "You will." I was like, "I'm gonna." Work my ass off to do blah blah blah. I was like, I'd love to be a part of you one day. And it was like 2 or 3 months later, he ended up letting me be part of it, and he sent me some gear and stuff. And it's been amazing ever since. They've only been growing. I think they're the fastest growing camel company in the industry. I 100% purely love it. I'll never shoot it, even if I end up falling off and like don't end up being pro staff one day. I'm never gonna use a different camo. I just ordered $1,000 more worth of gear. I got the new camo pattern. I got some bunch of base layers and the leafy suit so I can hunt ground more and even in a tree. But it's just like their customer service. They got Andy May. He just became a part of it. He's a big butt killer. He's like the main point of contact now. And just, dude, the whole pattern, I've never been pinned in a tree by a deer since I've used it. I've been pinned many times in other stuff. And it's just how it's made for bow hunters, by bow hunters, like everything made about it. They got the padded collar. They got like your safety harness slid in it. It comes out the vents. The vents the best thing, man. Like
Dude, that's so incredible.
I'll be
Yeah.
hot, and then you open them, and you're just like, oh, like you can just feel it. But I love that company, man. I love all my sponsors, but that Asio one, man, that one hit different, and it's just, yeah, I feel very, very blessed to be part of that and how fast it's growing, and like the other people that they have that is a part of it, and for me to say I'm part of it, I just feel very blessed to be a part of that. And Joe Miles, he's great, dude. Like he comments on everything, he reposts all your stuff. Like name another owner in the industry of basically any product that does that, especially one of the best premium camo companies in the whole industry.
Yeah, no, you're right. You are in great company. There's a lot of the guys that I've met throughout the years who are partnered with Asio as well, and I think that speaks a lot to the character of the founder, Joe. And I think that's just really interesting. I just wanted to hear your story on that. I think it's cool. I've never really asked anybody like, why did you choose whatever, but I think that's really great.
With it right when I saw it, man. I remember seeing it, and it was just like, I don't know, there was something about it was different.
Yeah,
like, the pattern was different, and I just love the pattern. I don't know how to explain it, and it blends in good, man. I'm excited to use. I got the Wrap X. I think that's what's called, the Wrap X camo coming. I'm gonna try that out for the first time, and I got my colder weather stuff because I got cold. I was cheap, like I said, and I'm blessed to be part of them where they helped me out with stuff. But I got my colder weather gear this year, so won't be sitting there freezing my ass off this year. So
last year was the first year in a long time where I'm like, you idiot, you should have invested in thicker stuff.
Yeah, and I love the Sherpa. I got the Sherpa bibs coming. My girlfriend bought me the Sherpa jacket. I was already tagged out, but I went hunting with my nephew later in the season, and that Sherpa jacket, man, like that'll get you through most of the season. Like your Sherpa, if you get the Sherpa pants and Sherpa jacket, it's got to be pretty cold for that not to work.
I'm telling you right now, anybody that hunts the super early season, so any of the early states like Kentucky, Nebraska's a September 1 open, like those lightweight pants with the vent on the side will absolutely help. I promise you.
And they don't sweat as bad as stuff.
They don't. It's amazing.
You wear the old mossy oak stuff like I wore when I was a kid. That stuff just sweats you. And I don't know what it's the material. They go through everything, man. Like they're very thought out about it. Like they do. It's the only company I know of that's 100% made for bow hunters for bow hunters. There's probably some now, but it's like you can wear it rifle hunting. A lot of rifle guys do, but it's a bow hunting company from everything from drawn, so you don't hit your clothes as your arrows releasing, because that was a big problem when I was young because I wore Walmart camo and stuff. But dude, everything is it's very thought out, and they're very detail oriented, and they're only getting better, man.
Yeah. Well, what else you got going on this season? Something that people can look forward to?
Hopefully put down my first Indiana public land buck. That's my main goal for the year.
That's your number one goal?
Yep. Public
Hell
land
yeah.
buck in Indiana. Do that, and I'll be pretty picky because that one spot that I had in my little honey hole where I got a camera, I just added one. I had bigger bucks there than I had my property. I had some big bucks on my family property. I had one buck, man. He's definitely a booner. Like, and I think I was going through the pictures. If you go through my Instagram, you can see like all these bucks. There was like 30 bucks that went through this one spot throughout the whole time I had that camera there, and that's a goal. And then getting that camaraderie back, going hunting with my buddy Quentin in Wisconsin, hunting a new state. Be the most north I've ever hunted, so I'm excited to try my luck up there, and it'd be sitting with my good buddy as he films me, and hopefully lay a buck down. So that's my two goals, and hopefully get my nephew on a buck and get him his first bow buck. He killed I was with him when he killed a doe last year, so just that. And I'm excited to see what this year has in store. Switching up a little bit, maybe I will be able to hunt my parents' property, but if I do, and it ends up being that way, I'm gonna stay off that property until about Halloween, and then I might dive in there. But so we shall see. But man, I appreciate you having me on. It was great talking to you.
Yeah, you too, man.
And it's easy to talk to you, and that's all it's about. And appreciate you.
Where can people follow along with you?
Whitetail Bloodline on everything. We're on Instagram. That's where I post the most, is on Instagram. I got a TikTok. I got Facebook. My Instagram and Facebook are linked up, so it's the same post. But Instagram is the best place to reach out. It's the place I'll see it the quickest. And I'm gonna try to get better at posting on YouTube. Got a YouTube that goes way back. If you want to see me when I was a little kid, squeaking voice, killing deer, it's on there. And then I actually have a podcast. I haven't posted in like 2 years, but I got a podcast with a few hundred episodes, and got some big name killers and a lot of information on there. It's on Apple and Spotify and a few other places. It's all Whitetail Bloodline, and you can find it on all those.
I felt really bad when you were talking about your podcast earlier. I'm like, holy shit, I did not know this. But it's because it was a couple of years ago. I'm like, whoo, man, I feel better now.
Yeah, because they switched it. They switched me up in how I did it. I used to do everything from my phone, and I can still do it from my phone, but kind of got to switch it up. But I mean, I had some cool ones. Like I had some killers that were awesome, but I had Jackie Bushman on there, and I grew up watching him, and I haven't heard of him being on very many podcasts.
No.
Yeah, had him on my podcast, and that was real surreal talking to a dude I started watching when I was like 8 years old or something. So
Yeah.
and I got some other big buck killers in there, like Joe Miles, Asio. You can hear about how all that started, and a bunch of other big buck killers in between. Man, it's my podcast is very like informative and all types of stuff. So
Was it also called Whitetail Bloodline?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna check it out. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
There's some good ones, man. You know some people on there for sure.
Yeah.
But I need to get back into it. Living in an apartment makes it a little harder.
It does. I'm sure. Well, dude, just doing it, period, it makes it difficult.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah, and it's time consuming.
Yes, but it's fun, and I love it.
It is. I love it, man. I miss talking to you. It was great because that's what I love, man. More than anything is whitetail deer, and I love all animals, but nothing's like the whitetail.
Well, I encourage everybody to go follow along with Gavin and his adventures over on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and go check out his podcast. Hopefully he revamps that thing and gets her fired back up. Do you have any merch that people can buy? That's a good looking fucking hat you got there.
I work for a printing company. So if you want something, reach out to me and I can make it happen. Cause I got some people that'll reach out. I don't have any like a website. I was in the middle of making one and everything, but that's just like time consuming. But if you want something, like you have me on the podcast, reach out to me. I'm gonna send you some stuff.
Man, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, like that's a great looking hat. It's a great looking logo on that shirt, man.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That, and then I think that's me with a shed on the back.
Oh yeah, I remember when you were kind of sharing those on Instagram because you just had them made. Yeah, that's cool, man.
I work at a printing shop, so it's
very cool.
It's easy for me, but Brett, dude, I appreciate you on, man. Hope you have a good evening.
Yeah, you too, Gavin. Thanks, man, and thanks everybody for listening. We will talk to you all soon.
Peace.